This dark and rainy island nation is one of the most remote places on our planet. But not only is it geographically isolated, it's also been socially outcasted by much of the world, with countless travelers saying they refuse to ever go here. Shrouded in darkness and in controversy, I was intrigued. What could this nation of 50,000 people possibly have done to make global headlines?
Very disturbing and upsetting.
After years of travel, I have often found myself most fascinated by the destinations most people refuse to visit. I feel a magnetic pull to explore them for myself. Let's be our own judge as we explore beyond the headlines and the outrage. Next stop, the crimson-stained coastlines of the Faroe Islands. We are just wrapping up one of the most incredible adventures of my entire life. We're saying goodbye here to Iceland, a video you gotta check out. But today is a new adventure and a new destination.
You're going to the Faroe Islands?
She's like, you need to hurry up, the ferry's waiting for you. We were supposed to close check-in. I'm like, I thought the boat left at 8. It's literally written on our tickets. And she's like, yeah, but the boat wants to leave an hour early. For the next 24 hours, this is our home as we sail to one of the most remote regions of our planet. All aboard. Don't try that at home, kids.
Those adventure little butterflies are coming up and this trip has begun.
The Faroe Islands have a rich history that date back over 1,000 years ago. Originally settled by Norse Vikings in the 9th century, these islands have seen a blend of Norse and Celtic influences. But while their Viking history is long behind them, their current day fishing practices remain. Today, the Faroe Islands are considered to be extremely controversial because of the Grind, a tradition that is as ominous as it sounds. We have a lot to uncover, but we also have a long crossing. Almost hands down, my favorite destinations are the ones where there's no expectations, where so little is known about what's ahead. As we leave here on this boat, setting sail into the night, waking up in a foreign country, it's a big adventure. This is what drew me to travel in the first place. 10 years ago, buying that one-way ticket to Thailand and just feeling fully immersed and out of my comfort zone. I get a little bit of that back today. My gosh, look at this.
Narnia stuff right there.
We're 1 hour into this trip and I can already get the sense this is gonna be one of those unforgettable memories. Behind every couple is another strong Christian.
Third wheeling hard right now.
For about $100 a night, you get this.
Welcome to my crib. Pretty dank. Got a good TV.
You got 2 beds?
Yeah, bro.
Where's your window? Ah, found it. If you're wanting a more cruise-like experience, $500 gets you this incredible room.
This is really nice.
This is really nice.
Yeah.
To be on the boat, you actually don't need a room. You could pull an all-nighter and hang here, and it's a really nice spot. One deep-sea sleep later, we had pushed from the rocky coastlines of Iceland and woke up just nearby the scenic shores of the Faroes. Wow, look at this. Faroes right behind me here. The day has literally flown by. Like, that was way too quick. There's one last thing I had to do before we arrived. I'm ready for the Faroes. Welcome to the capital city of Tórshavn. And here we go. You would think we're moving to the Faroes. For a place I was told to avoid, so far things were going surprisingly good. And we've made it. We just checked into one of the coolest boutique hotels.
So we get in here and I see it says, can you find Waldo? So I just took the last 30 minutes to try and find Waldo. And then Christian comes in without hesitation 30 seconds later.
No. 3 seconds later.
Okay, I'll shush it.
I literally was like, no scope, just right there. So a driver picked us up from the ferry, drove us to the hotel, and he was saying that the weather we have right now, this is the jackpot. Right now it's 16 degrees Celsius, and he said that's pretty much as hot as it will ever get here on this island. This trip almost didn't happen. There's a massive strike happening right now in the Faroes, and there's almost no gasoline left on the island. The grocery stores are just about to run out of food. The only reason we can get around right now is because we've got an electric vehicle. Now, this isn't a normal situation, and fortunately at the time of posting this, the strike has ended and fuel and food is back. The first thing you need to know about the Faroes is that it's one of the few places on the earth with no McDonald's. It has 3 traffic lights, the logo of their supermarket, well, it looks like a set of gonads.
It might only be your testicles that look like that. Yeah, I should get that checked.
And on average, it rains 257 days of the year. Goodbye, sunshine. The Faroes are not technically a country. They're actually part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but they're a fully self-governing nation. And apparently you can directly call up the Faroese Prime Minister.
Hi, this is Bjarne. What's going on with the grocery store?
Now, if we're going to truly understand this strange destination, we're going to need to immerse ourselves over these next few days, and the best way to do that is through meeting locals.
That's Craig over there.
They're literally talking to each other. This is so cool.
Nah, not them. Meet Dite, our first guide to the Faroes of this trip.
What does that say?
I'm not saying it. Look at it.
I think everyone can assume what that says. And now, how do you say that?
Ui hotna.
That's why you get a guide.
I heard you have 3 streetlights. Is that true? In Faroe?
we have a few more.
Oh, they've added some.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Now, the moment you leave Torshavn, you are met with a massive underground tunnel and their Faroe famous underground roundabout, which every local was super proud of. After leaving this tunnel, it becomes clear just how much is untouched on this island. Aside from a couple little homes hidden in the hillsides, you see nothing but valleys, mountains, and surprisingly beautiful winding roads. I guess that's one of the perks of being part of Denmark's kingdom. Like many people who live in Faroe, Dite was not born here. She was born in Denmark, but she feels this is her one and only home. She's so passionate about this land, and she toured us around the valleys, the fjords, and shared with us some stories while taking us to some iconic viewpoints, one of which was this mountaintop.
This is honestly so majestic and magical.
Hey, Christian, it's not a travel video unless someone does a backflip.
So I've been working hard, so you don't need to be that backflipping, TikTok dancing, booty shaking content creator who's following every trend in the book. You, my friend, are gonna build a true following, and I'll show you how. After 2 months locked in my office, my free creator program is finally here. It's called the 6-Figure Creator, and I wanna give it to you. I want you to have my greatest lessons from over 10 years in front of this camera. From getting free hotel stays with no following, what camera to use, and how to use it, and how to get in front of that camera, even if you're terrified.
Hi, I need some water.
Trust me, if I can be a creator, literally anyone can. The missing piece is the strategy, and I'm gonna give it to you, all for free. Linked down below. Enjoy.
Wow, this is so pretty. Welcome to Jegv. And this is one of the most dreamy fairy tale villages I've ever seen. The pastel colors, the green thatch roofs. This is very special. It is, like so much of the Faroes, a fishing village. That's the primary resource, that's the primary industry here. You can actually see right behind me there, they've got a fish farm. So those little circular nets with tons of fish jumping inside of it, those fish are gonna be sent off to different countries around the world. You might be thinking to yourself, this little rainbow village and these cute little fishermen and fisherwomen, they just live a little beautiful life, and you're kinda right. But they also have a dark secret.
Let me explain. It usually starts with the town bell ringing, announcing to the people to rush out to their boats because there's a nearby pod of whales or dolphins that have entered into shallow waters. The Faroese boats will chase them down until they're run aground. As the whales and dolphins get stuck in waist-deep water, the Faroese will meet them at the shallow shores. In their hand is a tool, a sharp and narrow blade that will be used to drive down deep into the dorsal fin. This leads to an incredibly graphic sight. Entire shorelines stained red and entire pods brought to an end. I know it's easy to see a disturbing image and to judge something as good or bad, but in life, very few things are black and white. The land here, it's not fertile, but what they do have is a plentiful sea, and that has been their way of feeding families for generations now. I want to hear from the Faroese what the grind really means to this island. Without hearing both sides, it's nearly impossible to form an honest opinion. And luckily, I managed to find the guy, a Faroese who's close to the action, and we have a fishing trip all lined up with him later this week.
So if you want a little bit of Faroe lore, that right there is the giant and the witch, those two sea stacks, those columns. And it's said that the witch and the giant were basically here to steal the Faroe Islands and bring them back to Iceland. But as the story goes, they failed. They collapsed into the water, and when the sun rose, they froze, and that's why they're there today. I think it's based on a true story.
Remember how I said the Faroes have over 250 days of rain per year? Well, today was not part of the Lucky 100 Club. The clouds came out of nowhere, and in what felt like 10 minutes, some real winds changed everything. But Ruby didn't mind.
You can totally just chill here right now. It's fine.
This is the prison, and I can hear one of them has clearly gotten free. I'm not adding that sound effect right now. That is actually coming from down there. Also, scope this out. They got mini putting. Not bad. Not bad at all. In this economy, free rent, mini putting with the boys, sign me up.
There's some special places on this planet where they are just as beautiful in the shadows as they are in the sun. And as you can see, the Faroes shine in the darkness. And just as quickly as it all arrived, it also left.
These cottages everywhere.
They're so vibey. Look at that. So these roofs right here with the grass and the moss, that's traditional Viking style to provide insulation to keep the heat in.
I've been seeing the Faroes on Instagram, but sometimes you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes with Instagram. And so walking this beautiful green lit alleyway in Torshavn, starting to see the real essence of the Faroes, that's what gets me extremely hyped. We're just getting started. Now we wanted to start our Faroe trip with a true Nordic meal, so we came here.
Hi, how are you?
You just called us, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, if you'll follow me.
Thank you. This building is from the 1800s, and you can really feel all the lives that have been lived in here.
Look at this. Squeaky floors. This floor is like tilted.
I could tell we were in the right place.
First course coming up here.
All right.
This is the first 3 servings, so we have 4 more to go.
It won't come as any surprise that Faroese food is basically everything from the sea. And they also enjoy some lamb and rhubarb, like their Icelandic cousins.
They just made us this braised lamb that has been cooked for over 24 hours. It's just falling apart. Ooh.
That was some of the best salmon of my life. That was a delicious meal, but the price was about $85 a person. You pick your specialty meals, and that was definitely one of them.
The next morning, the sun rose, but nobody was able to see it. The island was yet again covered by the deep fog, but that didn't stop my excitement. Today, we were going full Nat Geo to explore Mykines Island, which was home to the puffins. This was a dream day ahead, so we thought.
So meet Thomas, our parking lot guide. That's all he's gonna be today because we're not going beyond the parking lot. What happened, Thomas?
The swells were too high, we couldn't get in.
No.
So the ferry's cancelled.
But yesterday was so beautiful, what happened? That's travel, but I think it's particularly travel in the Faroes. You might just find yourself with...
Luckily, we have a few more days ahead. Let's try and roll the dice again tomorrow.
After enough coffee to tranquilize a horse, I'm feeling alive again. Through all my travels, most of the places I go, there's a few core areas where you get the beauty, you get the best viewpoints, or you get the best architecture. But with the Faroes, it's this whole island. Like literally, it doesn't matter if you take a left turn, a right turn, this whole place is a highlight reel.
Literally a 2-minute drive up the road.
Oh yeah, that's the spot. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just a little to the left, a little to the right.
We just stopped on the side of the road. We saw these cows.
Oh, you can see the little babies getting, trying to stay close to mom, but also getting knocked by the horns.
They say to keep your distance, but clearly nobody's telling them to keep their distance because...
Hey, hey, stay away from that. Come here.
After the owner of the tour company lent me his car, you can imagine
Away from the car,
I was
please.
stressing.
Come. Let's go. Please leave. Come on. Come here. Come on. Let's go. Baby, can you drive the car?
Yeah.
Get the car out of here. Shh. Come here. Christian, watch out. He left his nose, but no scratches, thank goodness.
We said our goodbye to Phil and the boys and got back in the car because we had a boat to catch.
Apparently we were the last ones on the ship. Everyone's waiting for us. Whoops. 12:30 in Faroes really means be here at 12. We're here at 12:25 and everyone's like, what are you doing? Hurry up. For an island, they're definitely fast-moving people. So we may not have gotten the puffins today at Michinis, but apparently if we keep our eyes open, we could see a few of them just kind of hanging on the cliffside. But what you're actually gonna see is these gravity-defying sheep that are literally on the most like insane slopes. I just wonder how many of them have tumbled down into the water. So we've come in between the rock side and it's just this grand opening. I mean, you can see the height of the cliff behind me. Right behind me is the Elephant Rock. This is far from a private tour, but it's a remarkable one. Truly an incredible perspective to see the grandeur of these mountains.
This is honestly such an exciting moment because we have done a lot of firsts together, but I feel like Christian has traveled the world a lot more than me. So getting to see puffins for the first time together is a really nice bucket list thing for us to have.
I've seen them before.
Have you really?
We were having a good time, and how couldn't we? The Faroes are undeniably gorgeous, and our first impressions were sky high. But as we were leaving, we saw something shocking. Out of total chance, or mischance, we saw what looked like over 100 boats creating an ominous convoy. And I thought, wow, you can't script this. The only possible reason I could think of was that eerie word, grind. But turns out it was actually just a boat festival, and the local Faroese were enjoying a fine day at sea. Well, fine by Faroe standards.
Now they're carrying on back to the town where they will enjoy food, music, and Faroe life. But eerily, this is actually very similar to what it looks like during a whale hunt. You know it's gonna be some good fish and chips when you're right next to the harbor.
We had a quick lunch break, and I can tell you that similar to Iceland, the Faroes are not cheap. Most meals will be between 25 to 40 USD per person. Quick bite, and we rushed out to our next tour. Let's not be late, because the Faroese don't mess around with start times.
They left us. We got here 5 minutes early on this tour because the other times that we were on time, we were very late. They literally left us. Don't mess with these Faroese people. They are so early.
This is not island time. This is Faroe time.
They're gone.
It's starting to make sense how they built the pyramids. They're very efficient people.
Who?
Faroes.
What did? Oh my god. You're so stupid.
Got me up.
You're so annoying.
The good news though, they're coming back to get us.
Let me just say, thank goodness they came back for us, because this boat trip was about to take us to one of the most amazing scenes I had ever seen.
That cliff has seen a few lifetimes. In just a few minutes, it goes from doom and gloom to absolute paradise. It looks like Pandora right here. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. We have a waterfall, a village above. We've got the most incredible lighting and spectacular clouds. This is one in a million. So Captain says somebody must have ordered the waves because he's not getting much closer. This is a very, very wavy day out here.
Anyone that's flown a drone from a boat knows it's high stakes. Taking off is hard, but landing it safely is just about the hardest thing. The drone stays mostly in place, but the boat sporadically moves in every direction. One wrong move and your finger is sliced, but even worse, your drone is gone. After having just had the best drone flight of maybe my entire life, this was a moment of pure focus, but mostly terror. One wrong move, and you would not have seen this.
take off again. Captain was explaining that these little white seagulls here, in September, the season, they will get a big net, they'll catch them. He's like, I don't think you like the taste. And Ruby's like, what, do they taste like chicken? He's like, nah, imagine chicken but covered in shit. It's like, it's an acquired taste. So, for now, you guys are safe. But September is coming. That was an emotional moment out there. Not just because of the drone footage, that was a part of it. Maybe I cried a little. But also there was a moment out there, I was just sitting out there being like, don't think about all the stresses, all the things going on in your life, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes right now. Not so great stuff. But remind yourself, be in this moment, because when you were younger and you dreamed of leaving that 9-to-5 job, this is why. And out there I had a little moment with that. That was really special. As the sun was breaking out of the clouds and I was just realizing where I am in the world. And yeah, the Faroes is one of those places that just is so awe-inspiring.
Remember how that boat tour showed us the end of the world? Where that dreamy waterfall washed right into the ocean? Well, it turns out you can drive through a magical tunnel and get up top here to what is easily one of the most beautiful villages you've ever seen.
And somehow, in this entire cloudy valley, this place still has picture perfect light, at least for a little while. Get that drone set up.
Completely disconnected from the rest of the Faroe Islands. It would take the most strenuous and difficult hike to get here, but back in 2006 they decided to build a tunnel, which finally led for people to come visit it and also live here. Imagine waking up here and seeing this in your backyard. I mean, I think I want to live here now.
Whoa. Hey guys.
I could stay here all day, but we couldn't be late for what's next.
We're back in Tórshavn, which you wouldn't be able to tell. We're literally 2 minutes outside of the city and I can't see a thing.
Now I'm starting to understand why everybody was like, oh, you're so lucky you have sunshine.
Okay, this is super cool. We've had this trip set up by Guide to the Faroe Islands. They've allowed us to be completely hands-on, tell them what we wanted from the trip, where we wanted to go. And one thing we told them is we want to see the Faroe fishing up close and personal. We want to understand one of the big parts of being Faroese.
With gray clouds and strong winds overhead, it was time to meet a truly Faroese character, a man that knew the seas and the stories beneath them.
What's your name?
Sune.
Sune.
Yeah.
I'm Christian. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Lady Rubington.
Hi, I'm Ruby. Lovely to meet you.
Sune.
Look, if we're gonna do our first shift here in the Faroe Islands, it's only fair that we get the Faroe weather. But time to get to work, babe. You gotta earn your dinner tonight.
I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time I'm actually really cold right now.
We can read all the headlines we want, but often the best way to get answers is just to ask them. And so I wanted to hear what being Faroese meant and what was the reality behind the grin.
Not the dreamiest of days, but you're probably used to seeing this.
I've seen it many times, yes.
Yes.
But I love it.
Sune and I had an interesting conversation about the grind, and it definitely shed some light on how it works.
Sune was just saying that what happens is they only will, from time to time, catch the whales that come through these openings into the actual Faroes. So they're not actually, like in Japan, going out and looking and hunting for a whale. If a pod of whales come through, then it's actually phoned in to the police chief.
And then the police chief decides if it should be taken in or not.
Oh, okay.
And if there have been some whale hunts before, police chief normally says that don't need more whale meat, don't take it in.
One whale has about a ton's worth of meat or of food, and so the police chief will be the one to ensure that that food is distributed amongst the community to hospitals, old folks homes, to of course the local fishermen.
Every whale hunt in the Faroes are documented since 1500 and something.
Good versus bad. That's not something I'm in a position to say. I eat meat, but from the sources life provided me. I don't think that makes me a better person. Hearing Suni's perspective on the Grind was valuable because it removed the sensationalism and showed how, just like any other people, the Faroese are just doing what they can to take care of their families. Later that night, I actually went home and researched the topic a little more, and I saw some studies that say the Grind was actually considered to be a sustainable practice, meaning that it wasn't a threat to the health of the ecosystem and to the pilot whale population. How you choose to interpret this is up to you, but I will tell you one thing. Not visiting the Faroes is a big decision to make as a traveler. There is so much to these islands. But if Faroe has a dark side to hide, well, I'll show you the skeletons in her closet, because tomorrow I'm showing you something that is truly a dark side to the Faroes.
I haven't done it in a long while, but I used to fish on a farm every Sunday and Wednesday back in Ohio. I'm getting back in touch with my roots.
How do you release it again? Is it this thing? Whoop. Yeah, I can feel it. Come on, come and believe we got a meal! We got a meal!
No, we don't.
I wasn't even messing with you. I totally thought there was something kicking.
Uh-huh.
The young travel vlogger has failed to provide food for his mate. She looks at him with disappointment. She will look for another mate this evening. It's a sad tale, as true as time.
Put her there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's a
that was
pleasure
so
to have
fun.
you.
Thank you.
The next morning, we re-attempted the Mykonos Island crossing, and swing and a miss. The crossing was too dangerous to make, and the ferry didn't run that day. I like to believe everything happens for a reason, and the swells were telling us we would need to come back to the Faroes another day. But we saved the real showstopper of the Faroes for last. You're not gonna believe this place.
We're gonna be... Craig, I'm trying to film here. What? Can't believe that. Craig says you're not subscribed. What should they do, Craig? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Guys, this is Heirvur. Did I say that right?
Almost.
Almost. Well,
Heirvur.
so Heirvur is going to be giving us the insider's trip today on one of the last things I needed to see before we leave these incredible islands. Where are we going today?
We are going to hike up to Trellanúpa and then down to Österlafoss, where we will eat lunch.
Oh, not just any lunch. You packed it, didn't you? A homemade lunch.
Yeah, I made
Okay.
the sausages and smoked the salmon myself.
One thing that has prepared me for this trip is Iceland. Maybe the most expensive destination I've ever traveled. And to be honest, the pricing here in Faroe is very comparable. Just to walk this trailhead for the next hour and a half was $30 a person. Pretty mad, but apparently worth it. It's worth it, right?
Every penny.
And just like that, doesn't even matter. What's the Faroese life mean to you?
Everything.
Yeah?
Yeah. I wouldn't live anywhere else.
You wouldn't live anywhere else?
Nope.
Even if you had more sunshine?
Nope.
Because you know, in Bali, we get like 300 days of sun.
Our guide had some of the most incredible stories, and the destination almost became secondary.
And then he would drag you down under the lake.
Oh, so there's like an evil horse in this lake?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Dunix.
Dunix. Okay, have you ever seen Dunix?
No, it's not around anymore.
He's not around anymore?
No.
He's in Iceland now, or where is he?
No, he's died.
Oh. What you're seeing right now, a little sample of where we're going toward. But as you can see, quite unique. We've got this special lake sitting right on top of a mountain, and I think the rest will reveal itself, as well as the history. It's not a very happy-go-lucky history. This isn't Happy Feet. I'll tell you about that when we get there. We heard this at the beginning of the trip. There are people, tiny gray people, that live inside of the Faroe Islands, inside the rocks, inside the boulders. And they're called the Holtofolk.
Holtofolk.
And so, if you get lost in the fog, that's
or
where...
a snowstorm.
Or a snowstorm.
They will come and help you on the way. So
Have
you then don't get lost.
You haven't seen them before?
No.
Wait.
I haven't. But my grandfather has.
You saw them?
Yeah.
This is a little perspective of where this lake is sitting. You got the lake here, and this is what's just beneath it. So I've got a story to tell you, but it's gonna have to wait till we get up. So first thing you should know, this mountain is known as Slave Mountain. Now this hike is a one-way hike. There's no return. We're almost there. Now you might be thinking, what is there to be nervous about? That view, drop dead gorgeous. And you're right, it is. And here we are on top of the Slave Mountain, where the Vikings would essentially take the slaves that were no longer in the physical shape that they needed to be able to keep up with their duties and responsibilities, and well, they would essentially have them walk right off to their demise. This is a one-way ticket, and there is no coming back from this. You said the other reason they could be forced off was because they did what?
Steal.
So if they steal something,
Yeah.
they would
also be brought up here and then pushed out.
Oh, wow. Do you think anyone ever survived?
Nope, no one survived.
No one survived.
Because the drop is around 2,000 or 3,000 meters down.
That's a good fall.
Yeah.
Now on a slightly brighter note, this is also a very stunning place to be. This lake over here is basically an optical illusion lake. You can see the way it's basically floating above the ocean. I've seen a lot of beautiful places, but the islands here in the Faroes just keep blowing me away. I'm so glad that we made this last minute decision to come here. The best trips I have had have usually come where I've least expected them, where I've had no expectations. And so maybe you shouldn't have watched this video before coming. Maybe it's gonna help you. One thing I definitely recommend is when you find a destination that you think is gonna go and break away from the norm, take that trip. It can really be incredible to go into a place with a fresh perspective and no expectations. Just back there is where the slaves would jump. And here is where the Vikings would work on their high dives. So they were phenomenal divers, usually on the podium, usually bronze, silver, not always gold, but that was usually the Ottoman. But all that to say, this is a stupid joke. This is why, oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is why you come with Guide to the Faroe Islands. You meet amazing people, you got beer in the best place you could ever imagine it. We're tucked away against the rocks here to cut out all the wind. Christian, Herbert brought beers.
What?
I know.
That sounds perfect right now.
That's the fastest I've ever seen you move. Oh wow, this is gourmet. You made this?
Yep.
This is gourmet.
Sheep and cow meat.
Oh my goodness.
Together.
Oh my god, that looks so good.
Skal. 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 It's a vibe. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
Bye.
If this video has you booking a flight to Faroe, as it should, you definitely want to stay at the Hafnia or the Brandon Hotel, and I think it goes without saying, Guide to the Faroe Islands is definitely an amazing starting point.
Oh my god, it's the perfect
I know.
feeling. Oh my god, there's nothing like a hot tub.
This island isn't just covered by the darkness of the rain clouds, it's also got the darkness of its Viking past. But despite that, there are so many people that wouldn't want to call any other place on this planet home. I can say that all this darkness only made the moments of light that much more special. I'm truly grateful for these little islands and this very big adventure. What a wild second chapter to our Iceland trip, which only got posted just a couple weeks ago. If you're into this video, you're going to love my Iceland video, so check that out after. Let's get lost again in the next one.